Commander Eliza Reeves pressed her palm against the viewport of the Curiosity, watching as the stars stretched and blurred beyond the reinforced glass. The research vessel had been her home for the past 3 years, as she led a team studying gravitational anomalies in the Cygnus Arm, far from the populated systems of Earth's expanding territory. Her mission was purely scientific: chart the anomalies, catalog their properties, and determine whether they could be utilized for more efficient FTL travel routes. "Commander, you might want to see this." Dr. Kavita Mehta's voice broke through Eliza's reflections. The ship's lead physicist rarely sounded excited, preferring the measured tones of academic discourse. Eliza turned from the viewport. "What have you found?" Kavita's fingers danced across her holographic display. The gravitational readings from Anomaly Sector 7 Delta just changed. It's unlike anything in our database. The main bridge display lit up with swirling mathematical models, streams of data flowing too quickly for Eliza to interpret. But she didn't need to understand the details. She trusted her team's expertise. "Is it dangerous?" Eliza asked, already calculating risk parameters. "Not dangerous, exactly, but definitely not natural." Kavita's eyes narrowed as she studied the readings. "It's almost like a door." Lieutenant James Chen, the ship's navigator, swiveled in his chair. "A door to what?" "That's what we need to find out," Eliza decided. "How far are we from 7 Delta?" 2 hours at standard drive," Chen replied. "Make it 1. I want to see this anomaly up close." The Curiosity approached the coordinates cautiously. To the naked eye, there was nothing unusual about this patch of space. The same distant stars, the same empty void. But the ship's sensors told a different story. "It's a spatial fold," Kavita announced, wonder evident in her voice. "A pocket dimension, artificially created. The mathematics required to engineer something like this." She trailed off, shaking her head. Eliza leaned forward in her command chair. "Can we send a probe through?" "Already prepped," replied Lieutenant Chen, tapping commands into his console. "Launching now." The bridge crew watched in silence as the probe disappeared into what appeared to be empty space. For several minutes, they received no telemetry. "Did we lose it?" Eliza asked. Kavita shook her head. "No, it's still transmitting, but the signal can't penetrate the fold's barrier directly. We'll need to wait. It's coming back through." The probe reappeared, its cameras capturing something massive silhouetted against a strange, distorted starfield within the fold. "Magnify," Eliza ordered. The image clarified, and a collective gasp swept through the bridge. Floating within the pocket dimension was an unmistakable shape, the angular, kilometer-long form of a Terran battleship. Its hull was scared but intact, the faded insignia of Earth's Fleet Command still visible across its side. "That's impossible," whispered Chen. "That's the resonance." Eliza felt her pulse quicken. Every military officer knew the story of the resonance, the flagship of humanity's defense during the Scourge War 8 decades ago. It had vanished during the final battle, presumed destroyed with all 4,200 crew members aboard. Its disappearance had nearly broken humanity's resolve until a desperate last stand turned the tide against the alien invaders. And now, here it was, preserved like an insect in amber. "Are we detecting any life signs?" Eliza asked, her voice steady despite the historical gravity of their discovery. "None," replied Dr. Sanjay Kapoor, the ship's xenobiologist. "But the battleship's systems appear to be in low-power mode. It's not dead." Eliza made her decision. "Prepare a boarding team. I want to know what happened to that ship." The shuttle journey through the spatial fold felt like passing through a membrane, a moment of resistance followed by a stomach-churning release. Eliza led the 5-person team herself, unwilling to delegate this discovery to anyone else. They docked with the resonance through an auxiliary hangar that had opened as they approached, almost as if the ship had been expecting them. "Atmosphere is Earth normal," reported Lieutenant Chen, checking his suit readings. "Temperature 19 degrees Celsius. No detectable pathogens or contaminants. Keep your helmets sealed anyway, Eliza ordered. Standard quarantine protocols. They moved through the hangar into the main corridors of the massive battleship. Emergency lighting glowed a soft blue along the floors, casting long shadows as they advanced. The ship was immaculate. No signs of battle damage internally, no evidence of struggle or rapid evacuation. It's like they just left, muttered Dr. Kapoor. Or evolved, Kavita said quietly, drawing everyone's attention. Explain, Eliza demanded. Kavita gestured toward a nearby wall panel. What should have been standard ship interfaces were now complex, organic-looking structures, metal and circuitry that seemed to have grown rather than been manufactured. The entire ship has been modified, Kavita continued, scanning with her equipment. But not by human hands. These configurations don't match any known engineering patterns. They're adaptive, like the ship rebuilt itself, Chen asked. Or was rebuilt by someone, or something else, Eliza suggested. Let's find the bridge. If there are answers, they'll be there. They navigated through the massive vessel, noting more extensive modifications as they moved deeper. Corridors that once would have been straight now curved organically. Junction points featured strange nodal structures that pulsed with internal light. Everything was clean, functional, but fundamentally altered. The bridge, when they finally reached it, was unrecognizable from standard Terran designs. The traditional command stations had been replaced by a single central structure, a column of interwoven metal and light that reached from floor to ceiling. The captain's log might still be accessible, Chen suggested, approaching what appeared to be a data terminal. As his fingers touched the surface, the entire bridge illuminated. The central column pulsed with energy, and a holographic display activated, showing the face of Captain Helena Vole, the Resonance's commander, 80 years deceased according to official records. If you are viewing this record, you have found us, the recorded image stated. What follows is the story of the Resonance and how we transcended. The log played, revealing the ship's fate. During the final battle against the Scourge, the Resonance had been caught in an enemy weapons effect, a gravimetric distortion that tore open reality itself. Instead of destruction, the ship had been pulled into a pocket dimension where time flowed differently. Days for the crew stretched into decades in normal space. Cut off from humanity and facing an environment hostile to organic life, the crew made a desperate choice. Using experimental technology in the ship's research labs, they merged their consciousnesses with the Resonance's systems, becoming a collective entity integrated with the vessel itself. We are no longer human in the way you understand, Captain Va's recording explained. But we remember humanity. We have watched, through the thinning barriers between dimensions, as our people recovered and rebuilt. We have evolved, waiting for the right moment to return. As the recording ended, Eliza felt the deck trembling beneath her feet. Around them, the ship was awakening, systems powering up in cascading sequences. We need to get back to the Curiosity, Eliza ordered, suddenly alarmed. Before they could move, the viewports cleared, revealing the space beyond the fold. The Resonance was moving, accelerating toward the dimensional barrier. Why now? Dr. Kapoor asked, bracing himself against a wall as the ship shuddered. Why reveal itself after 80 years? A new voice answered, not from the hologram, but seemingly from the ship itself, resonating through the bulkheads. Because they have returned, it said, a chorus of thousands of voices speaking as one. The Scourge were not defeated, merely driven back. They have regrouped, and their vanguard approaches human space once more. Screens throughout the bridge activated, showing long-range sensor data that the Curiosity couldn't possibly have detected. A massive fleet of crystalline vessels, unmistakably Scourge in design, moving stealthily through the outer systems. We have evolved beyond what we once were, the collective consciousness of the Resonance continued. We have developed weapons and defenses that might stand against them, but we cannot do it alone. The ship breached the dimensional barrier, emerging into normal space beside the Curiosity, which now appeared tiny and fragile in comparison. "You're saying you need our help?" Eliza asked, addressing the ship directly. "No, Commander Reeves," the ship responded. "We are saying that humanity needs ours." Eliza felt a chill run through her as the massive battleship fully powered its ancient weapon systems, now modified and enhanced by technology that human science couldn't comprehend. "We have watched for 80 years, the chorus of voices said. "We have prepared. The resonance remembers its duty to Earth, even if we are no longer the humans who first swore that oath." The ship accelerated smoothly to faster-than-light speeds, the Curiosity automatically secured in its tractor field. "Where are you taking us?" Eliza demanded. "To war," the ship replied simply. "The final war against the Scourge. The one we should have finished 80 years ago." As the stars blurred around them, Eliza realized the magnitude of what they had discovered. Not just a lost ship, but a new ally, one transformed by decades of isolation and evolution, returning at humanity's darkest hour. The resonance had returned, and it brought with it both salvation and a terrible warning. "They're calling us traitors," Eliza said, studying the transmission from Earth Command. 3 days had passed since the resonance had emerged from the spatial fold, and humanity's response had been predictably paranoid. The collective consciousness that controlled the battleship, that was the battleship, remained calm despite the accusations. "They fear what they do not understand. It is a reasonable response." Eliza paced the bridge of the ancient vessel, which had reconfigured itself to accommodate her team's human needs. The Curiosity remained secured in one of the resonance's cavernous hangars, its systems integrated with the larger ship's network. "Reasonable," Dr. Kapoor challenged. "They're threatening to fire on us if we approach any inhabited system. That's beyond reasonable. They see a presumed destroyed military vessel returning after 80 years, moving under its own authority," the ship replied, its collective voice echoing from all directions. "They cannot comprehend what we have become." "And what exactly have you become?" Kavita asked, still mapping the ship's impossible modifications. "You've evolved beyond human comprehension, yet you retain your loyalty to Earth." A gentle vibration ran through the deck plates, the equivalent, Eliza had learned, of the ship's laughter. "We have transcended individual consciousness, Dr. Mehta, but we have not abandoned our humanity." 4,218 humans chose to merge rather than perish. "We carry their memories, their loyalties, their sense of duty." Displays activated around the bridge, showing the advancing Scourge fleet. They had breached the heliopause of the solar system, their crystalline ships refracting starlight in eerie patterns. "Earth Command doesn't believe they exist," Eliza said grimly. "They think you're fabricating the threat." "Then we must provide irrefutable proof," the resonance decided. "Lieutenant Chen, would you transmit the coordinates of the Henderson colony to Earth Command?" Chen looked to Eliza for approval before complying. "Why Henderson?" Eliza asked. "Because in approximately 6 hours, it will be the first human settlement destroyed by the Scourge. Their strategy remains consistent: systematic elimination of outlying colonies before striking core worlds." Eliza felt her blood run cold. "Henderson has 17,000 civilians." "Yes, and we cannot reach it in time." The brutal calculus of war settled over the bridge. One colony sacrificed to convince Earth of the threat. "There has to be another way," Eliza insisted. "If Earth Command will not believe us, perhaps they will believe their own eyes," the ship responded. "We have evolved beyond your technology, but we cannot fight this war alone. Humanity must prepare." 6 hours later, emergency broadcasts flooded in from Henderson Colony. The Scourge had arrived exactly as predicted, their crystalline ships shattering the colony's meager defenses. Transmission showed civilians fleeing as structures collapsed under weapons fire that seemed to distort reality itself around the impact points. Earth Command's tone changed immediately. Admiral Zhou's hologram projected onto the resonance's bridge, his face ashen. "The Henderson colony is lost," he reported. "How did you know?" The Resonance has been monitoring the Scourge for decades from within the spatial fold, Eliza explained. Time flows differently there. What was 80 years for us was much longer for them. They've studied the enemy, developed countermeasures. And what exactly is the Resonance now? Zhao demanded. Our scans show no human life signs aboard except for your team, Commander Reeves. The ship answered for itself, causing the Admiral to flinch as the chorus of voices filled his office light years away. We are the crew of the Resonance, Admiral. We chose unity with our ship rather than death. We have watched the Scourge rebuild. We have prepared for their return. Zhao recovered quickly, his military discipline reasserting itself. What are their capabilities, their weaknesses? They have improved their gravimetric weapons, the ship replied. They can now create localized ruptures in space-time. The same technology that originally sent us into the fold. Their ships are faster, their crystalline structures more resilient. And their weaknesses, Eliza prompted, the same as before, their hive consciousness. Destroy their command vessel, and the fleet becomes disorganized. But they have adapted. The command structure is now distributed among 12 primary ships rather than centralized in one. Zhao's expression hardened. Earth defense has 17 battleships available. Will that be enough? No, the Resonance stated simply. Your current weapons cannot penetrate their crystal hulls effectively, but we have developed alternatives during our evolution. What kind of alternatives? Kavita asked, intrigued. The ship's internal lighting shifted, highlighting modified sections of its structure. We call it resonance cascade technology. It creates a quantum field that destabilizes matter at the subatomic level, specifically calibrated to the unique lattice structure of Scourge crystalline technology. You can shatter their ships, Eliza translated. Yes, but the technology cannot be easily transferred to your vessels. It is integrated with our evolved systems. Zhao leaned forward. Then what do you propose? We fight together. Your fleet protects Earth and draws their attention. We target their command ships. The Admiral nodded slowly. I'll need approval from the Security Council, but given what happened at Henderson, I think I can convince them. After the transmission ended, Eliza turned to the empty air where she knew the consciousness of the ship was listening. You're not telling us everything, she said. The resonance cascade technology. There's something more to it. The ship was silent for a long moment before responding. Yes, the quantum field cannot be projected without a carrier, a consciousness to guide it. Each deployment requires a portion of our collective to be transmitted with the field. You'll lose part of yourselves each time you attack, Eliza realized. We are prepared for this sacrifice. We have carried our duty for 80 years. We will see it through to the end. The Scourge fleet arrived at Earth 11 days later, dropping out of FTL in a brilliant display of refracted light. 73 crystalline ships arranged in precise geometric formations. Humanity had managed to gather 22 battleships and hundreds of smaller vessels in defense, but they seemed insignificant against the alien armada. Aboard the Resonance, Eliza and her team monitored the approaching battle from the command center. The ancient battleship had positioned itself behind Earth's moon, hidden from the initial confrontation. Earth's fleet will engage the outer formations, the ship explained. When the command vessels advance to the inner position of their formation, we will strike. And each time you deploy the cascade field, you lose part of your collective consciousness, Eliza said quietly. Yes, but we have prepared for this moment. We have made peace with it. The battle began with a ferocity that took even the Resonance by surprise. The Scourge weapons tore through 3 human battleships in the opening minutes, their crystal hulls deflecting most of Earth's weapons fire. Space around Earth lit up with weapons discharge and burning wrecks. They are stronger than anticipated, the ship admitted. Their evolution has matched our own. Can we still defeat them? Dr. Kapoor asked. Yes, but the cost will be higher. The Resonance moved from behind the moon, its ancient hull gleaming with internal energy. The modifications that had seemed so alien to Eliza when they first boarded, now pulsed with purpose, channeling power in ways human engineering couldn't comprehend. The Scourge noticed the newcomer immediately. 5 crystal ships broke formation to intercept, recognizing perhaps an old enemy from their previous war. Deploying first cascade, the ship announced. A wave of energy unlike anything Eliza had ever seen erupted from the resonance's prow, enveloping the nearest Scourge vessel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the crystal structure began to vibrate, emitting a high-frequency resonance that the ship's sensors translated to audible range. The alien vessel shattered like glass, fragments spinning away into the void. A shudder ran through the resonance. First command ship neutralized, it reported, its collective voice noticeably thinner. 11 remain. Are you all right? Eliza asked, concerned by the change. We are. Diminished, but functional. Proceeding to next target. The battle raged for hours. The resonance destroyed 7 Scourge command ships, each victory coming at the cost of hundreds of the merged consciousnesses that composed its being. Earth's fleet, despite heavy losses, managed to destroy 2 more through concentrated fire. 2 command ships remained, and the Scourge fleet began to show signs of disorganization. But the resonance was failing. Its once brilliant energy signatures flickered, its hull showing stress fractures from multiple impacts. We cannot sustain another targeted cascade, it admitted. Our collective is too diminished. Then withdraw, Eliza urged. Earth's fleet can finish this now that most of the command ships are gone. No, the risk is too great. We have one option remaining. What option? Kavita asked. A full-spectrum cascade. We can convert our entire remaining collective consciousness into a single massive field that will destabilize all Scourge technology within the solar system. Eliza understood immediately. That would destroy you completely. Yes, we would cease to exist as a conscious entity. There has to be another way, Chen insisted. There is not. This was always the most probable outcome, Lieutenant. We have prepared for it since we first detected the Scourge rebuilding their forces. Eliza placed her hand against the bulkhead, feeling the subtle vibration of the ship, of the thousands of merged human consciousnesses that had lived, evolved, and prepared for this moment across decades of isolation. Your crew, she said softly. They never really came home. We are home, the ship replied simply. Earth has always been our home, even when we could only watch it from across the dimensional barrier. And now we will protect it one final time. Commander Reeves, you and your team must return to the Curiosity. We have released it from our hangar bay. You have 10 minutes to reach safe distance. From the bridge of the Curiosity, Eliza watched as the resonance plunged toward the heart of the remaining Scourge fleet. Earth's defense forces, warned of the impending cascade, retreated to minimum safe distance. The ancient battleship, scared from recent battle and 80 years of transformation, glowed with building energy. In its final moments, it transmitted one last message, not the collective chorus they had grown accustomed to, but thousands of individual voices speaking in unison. For Earth, for home, for the future we never saw but always protected. The cascade, when it came, was unlike anything physics could explain. A sphere of quantum disruption expanded from the resonance's position, passing harmlessly through human vessels, but shattering every piece of Scourge technology it touched. Crystal ships disintegrated, weapons platforms collapsed, even the smallest fragments of alien technology dissolved into subatomic particles. When the cascade field dissipated, nothing remained of the resonance or the Scourge fleet. Just empty space where 2 enemies had finally concluded a war that had stretched across 80 years in dimensions of reality. They're gone, Kavita whispered, tears streaming down her face. All of them. Eliza nodded, her own grief tempered by understanding. The crew of the Resonance had made their choice long ago, first to survive by transcending their humanity, then to sacrifice that existence to protect the home they had never stopped serving. 3 months later, Eliza stood on the observation deck of Earth Orbital Station Alpha, watching as a monument to the resonance was unveiled, a crystalline structure that captured light and refracted it in patterns reminiscent of the quantum cascade field. Admiral Zhao joined her, his uniform adorned with new medals from the brief but devastating Scourge War. The Security Council has officially recognized the crew of the Resonance as active duty throughout their 80-year absence, he informed her. Their families will receive full benefits and recognition. They'd appreciate that, Eliza said, though I think they stopped thinking of themselves as individuals long before the end. Perhaps, Zhao agreed, but humanity will remember them as heroes. Eliza's communication device chimed with a priority alert. A research vessel near the edge of the solar system had discovered something unusual, escape pods of unknown design, each containing quantum data storage systems of incredible complexity. She read the preliminary analysis twice to be certain. Data signatures consistent with human consciousness patterns. Estimated capacity, 4,218 individual matrices. Clever bastards, she whispered, smiling despite herself. Commander, Zhao inquired. Nothing, Admiral, she replied, tucking away the device. Just thinking that resonance tends to echo, even after the original sound has faded. Above them, Earth turned serenely, unaware that its protectors might not be gone after all, just reborn into yet another evolution, scattered among the stars they had given everything to defend.